In the last video, I showed you how to get started with assignment 6, so creating things like the ground and the background, and reminding you to use your pen tool to create some of these shapes. Some shapes, of course, you can use your shape tools, like your ellipse tool, you can do that. Okay. And then you can use your eyedropper tool to pick the color. And you can also use your stroke and change the size of your stroke. Okay. And of course, you have to label all the layers in your drawing. So let's go over to your assignments, instructions. Okay. So assignment 6. These marks, assignment 6 is marked out of 5, okay, and this is the breakdown for marks. So grouping and labeling your layers is important. You get 1 mark for it. I will be looking in your Illustrator file, so I will look in here to see if you grouped and labeled, meaning naming your shapes and your and your different drawings. All right, so you can see that under line I have a 3 or 4 lines here, and I had to group them so that I don't have too many layers in my drawing. Okay, so because it's very easy to end up with 500 layers in here. So things that you can group, you should group. For example, all these circles, all 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, all 4 of these could be grouped together as one, and same as the back ones here. Okay. If you are using multiple shapes to draw this coconut tree in the back or this palm tree in the back, you can also group all the different shapes as one. Okay, and you can name it things like tree 1 or tree 2, tree 4, tree 5, tree 3, and tree 4. Okay, or same as cloud 1, cloud 2, cloud 3, cloud 4. So it doesn't have to be a fancy name, just something that is descriptive. Okay, so over here is where I'm going to have some flexibility. You can find a font, you can look for a font that is similar to this, even if it's not exact. Okay, so if it's not an exact match, that's okay. I will let you get away with finding something that is just similar to it. So let's go take a look at what similar is and what is not similar. Okay, so I'm just gonna select that and make that a bit bigger. Here we go. Okay, so let's go and play around with some fonts here. So you may not be able to find the exact font, but you can play around and see and find some similar ones. So this is a bit similar. It's not quite the same, but it is more similar than, say, like script like this, or something like that is obviously not similar, right? Okay, so this is something that's kind of thick and fat, and this is something that is more decorative. Okay, so I'll give you some flexibility with the 56 here, but please make sure that you pick something that is similar to this font here, even if it's not the exact match. All right, so let's go take a look at the other instructions in there. Okay, so you have to pick colors and gradients that match the original graphic. Okay, so that includes gradients. So I said don't worry about the texture. The texture is this sort of grady kind of effect that was applied to it. So the effect I applied to it made it kind of grainy like that. But so you don't have to worry about applying that effect to your drawing. But still, you need to match the colors in here. All right. And another thing you don't need to worry about so much is the little tiny circles here. You don't have to tiny little dots here. If you can get them in, that's great. If you cannot, that's also okay. All right, and let's go keep looking. So create shapes that match the original graphic. So what you'll be doing in this is, like I showed you in the previous videos, that you'll be tracing it. Okay, so the best way to trace something is to go use your pen tool, have no fill, and have a stroke that is a color that stands out. Okay, you can always change it later. And then I like to make my stroke quite a bit visible. Okay, so not too thin, but not too thick because sometimes that interferes with my drawing. So yeah, here we go. So if I wanted to draw this kind of front fender, then if I use a pink stroke, then I can see what I'm drawing, right? So there we go. So when I'm happy with it, I can take away the stroke and I can change the color, right? Okay, so I can change the color after I am happy with the drawing, okay? All right, so the quality of how it matches, you know, will decide what marks you get here. Is out of 3, so total is out of 5 marks. So here are some helpful hints. So typically each shape is one color. So if you look in here, this is all one color here, right? This is all one color. The door is all basically one color. This blue strip is one color. So usually each shape is one color, unless they're gradients, okay? So another hint is figure out what shapes are in the back and what is in the front. So let's go take a look. So what's in the back? The tree's in the back, the sunset is in the back. The car is in the front, right? It's in the top layer. So things that are in the front will be in the top layer. Things that are at the bottom will be in the bottom layer, okay? And like here, you can draw this tree here all the way through, right? You can draw this tree all the way through. You don't need so much to worry about that split there because when you draw the car, it will cover this tree, right? It will cover this tree, right? So for example, if this is the car, okay, so if I have a car here, if I have a car in the front, let's say my car is orange. If I have a car in the front, it would just cover that tree. So you don't have to worry about, you know, making 2 separate shapes. All right, so I hope that makes sense to you. And then next, create the shapes that are in the background first. This just saves you work. So create the trees first, create the car the last, create the sun first, create the trees later, then create the car last, okay? Create the background shapes first. Use grouping and labeling to help you organize your layers. If you do not group and name things, you're going to end up with like 500 layers and it'll be really hard to keep track of what is what. So this is actually to help you. And use the lock layer option to help you select desired layers. So if you just want to select some things, for example, sometimes I just want to select, you know, so let's go show all this here. So if I just want to select this line here, then I can lock everything else. Okay. And then I can just go like that and I don't have to worry about accidentally clicking on something else. Everything else is locked. So that allows me to select what I want. So use the lock function to help you select things that you need. All right. There we go. There we go. So, you know, give that a try. This isn't due until the following week. So usually I make the assignment due on the Sunday, but this is not due for another week. Give that a go, and next class we'll have a question and answer period. So you'll have 2 work classes to work on this. So give it a go and let's see how it goes.